Hey, it's John and Justin here for Developer Day number 29.
First, we're going to talk a little bit about the Family History Technology Workshop. It's this thing BYU puts on every year where bright minds present, give 15-minute presentations about some topic they're working on. A lot of it has to do with stuff like handwriting recognition and other things along the lines, more technical things. We decided to go this year because it was nearby and we're working in the genealogy space just to see what it was like. We didn't really know what to expect. We also signed up to do a demo. And it was pretty neat. There's a lot of bright people in the industry. We need some more business people to pair with those bright people so that some of those ideas can actually come to fruition. And we also, I think that what we mostly got out of it was some good business contacts and a break from our own stuff. Yeah. So that was pretty good, except for breakfast. Just saying.
That was a lot of sugar. Couldn't eat most of it. Second thing we did, we finally got around to adding analytics. Well,
beyond the basics.
Beyond the basics. Before we had analytics, just the regular page views and things, basic things like that, 404s and 500s and stuff. But what we did this week is we took our search page and we added Google Analytics event tracking in there. So now when you come on the page, if you hit the search button, an event will fire and say the user searched this latitude and longitude for this radius with this from and to year and birth, marriage, death, whatever tags you happen to have. So that's one event we track. The second event we track is when you scroll to the bottom, you'll notice it loads an additional page. We track that. So each additional page load will generate some pagination. That way we can tell how many times the user is actually scrolling down the page. How far are they really going? The third thing is...
Although, one thing which we forgot is we have no way of knowing if they reach the end.
That's true.
So we have to add that.
Yep. The next thing we do is if they have no results, we log that and we log where that is. So this one, when we look at it, we'll go, oh yeah, that's the one we did in the demo. It was out in the middle of the ocean, that's why. So we don't need to worry about that. The other one we do is when a user comes in and from the Chrome extension, they may have a place string already set. And we keep track of the ones that we're unable to geocode, which will give us a good indication of what data we need to go after next. Although one of the funny ones we looked at today was what, birth records?
Birth certificates.
Birth certificates.
Somewhere in England. We're like, okay, well, I guess we
can't geocode.
Hopefully that doesn't happen too often. I really don't want to try and educate users that that's not the way this works. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so they must have had a place stored in some tree that was the place name, because that's weird. And then the last thing we check, we log with events, is when we have a search error. So we've been having some weird off and on issues. Hiccups. We think they're related to Cloudflare, but we're having some hard time really pinning that down. So we're gonna keep track of search errors independent of page errors and see if we can figure out what's going on.
Track information about what the error was.
That would be good too,
because we're just tracking if there was an error.
Yeah,
that's not good enough.
So we'll add some more to that. So Google Analytics, it's free, it's easy to use. Go use it.
Yeah. The next thing we're starting to dive back into is returning to something, tracking our indexing stats. Yeah. Right now we have no way of knowing what percentage of sources from a given repository were successfully indexed. And that's bad for a lot of reasons. One, we should be able to tell our users how much data we have, and we have some fun projects in line to do that. But second, we should know. For example, we have no idea of knowing how much of the family history library catalog we have successfully indexed. And that's really bad because we need to know where our data is weak and where we should be spending our time, because users are pretty good at recognizing that. When you have somebody who's spent the last 15 years reviewing catalog entries for a given place of the world, and they come to our website and see that 70% of collections are missing. Like they're going to complain about that, and we're going to lose. So, but there's a lot of problems involved with that, right? And we're still. Some of it has to do with our geocoding process and indexing process, and some of it has to do with the data. We started off with sort of like a naive approach where we take a place string and we throw it to our server and see if there's any relative matches, but it was hard to configure Elasticsearch, maybe we just didn't have the time, in such a way that the scoring was very good. And we could get some too many false negatives. No, sorry, false positives. Too many false positives, right? So we said, okay, well, let's back off that. And we'll just do an exact match, and we'll track all the ones that failed and know, okay, we need to go add this alternate name to our data in OPD because this is a pretty common use case, right? So we tried that, but then we noticed, well, what about something like a county in the United States? That's really hard, right? Provo, Utah. Well, is that the city or is that the county? Well, sometimes it's both. One of the, and so what we had to do was say, okay, if we see a string in the United States that has three parts, we assume that's county, state, and country. And so we tack on the word county to the end of the first one, if it's not already there, right? Well, that led to a lot of, and we tracked everything that we missed, and that led to a lot of false positives in our tracking for what we were unable to geocode. I hope you followed that logic. and so we would open up, for example, we would look in our logs and we would see something like, or another weird one is like England CP for the civil parishes, and that was the top thing we couldn't geocode. Okay, so we're tracking what we're unable to geocode so we can turn around and go get data, but our stats for that are useless. So anyways, if you followed any of that or not, the basic idea is we're trying to figure out how we can accurately and usefully track what we're unable to index and geocode, and it's a really hard problem.
In a way that we can see what data we need to go after next. That's what we're really trying to figure out.
And we might have to do something more. Yeah, anyways.
We don't know. if we figure it out by next week, we'll tell you. Yeah. If we don't, then we'll have to figure out something. So
that's where we're at. We had a lot of fun this week. We're looking forward to next week.
Yeah.
I think. I'm not sure. Well, yeah. And hopefully by next week we'll have the new collection view done. We're in the process right now of reindexing our data so that it's in the format that we need to be able to set up that new view so that you can explore the geocoded data better.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah.
This is Justin and John, Developer Day number 29. I'll see you next week.